Hi everyone, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about life today and our Western culture, and just give you a free practice if you want to practice it. Just because you can if you want to, and I felt like just handing over some free stuff. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is our Western culture with its performance mindset. So what do I mean by the performance mindset? Well, it's just the fact that we are being taught to do all the time and to be good at what we're doing. Now, essentially, there is nothing wrong with doing and being good at what we're doing. It just kind of has taken on massive proportions, and now all our lives are about doing and about having to be good enough and having to perform, right? So we learned it at school, we had to perform at school, and then we had to perform at university, and then we had to perform at our jobs, and then it continues, right? So then we have to perform as a partner, we have to perform as a parent, we have to perform in everything that we do, and that creates so much stress in our lives, so much disconnect from ourselves, from others, from nature, from what is important in life, right? And I was reflecting a little bit on that today, and I used to be a dancer back in the days when I was a little younger, and when I was a dancer, my life was about practice. It was not about performing, right? There was very little performance time and a lot of practice time. I would practice, like when I was at dance school, I would practice a whole year, and we would have one show at the end of the year. So much practice time for so little performance time. And now that I am an adult and I live in this adult world and this business world, where I teach and have my own business, and now it's about performing, and it's stressing me out, and I see it in my clients, it's stressing everybody else out. I see it on the streets when I look at people's faces, they're stressed, they're anxious, they're depressed, they're lonely. It's the feedback my clients give me as well. So we really have this epidemic of doing. Like, we have completely forgotten to be and to feel and to pause and to practice, right? Just imagine what would happen if you changed this performance mindset into a practice mindset. Instead of telling yourself and stressing yourselves out, oh my God, I have to be good at being a parent, I have to be perfect, I cannot make any mistakes, I have to be perfect at my job, I have to be perfect here, and I have to be perfect there, and I have to look perfect. So much stress. What would happen to your life, right, if you just change your performance mindset to that practice mindset and said to yourself, you know what, I am practicing life. I am learning. I am practicing being myself. I am practicing being a partner. I am practicing being a parent. I am practicing being a manager or an employee or a leader or a business owner or an activist, right? What would happen in your life? What would transform? How much would your life transform for the better, right? Even just for myself, as I'm doing this video, it's really scaring me to do videos. I really don't like it. It stresses me out. But what I did today was I just said to myself, you know what, Pam, you're practicing this, right? So I'm practicing doing this video, and now what happens in myself is I'm relaxed and I'm happy to connect with you and to talk to you and just share my reflections and share my experience, right? Because practice allows for pausing. It allows for learning It allows for making mistakes. It allows for growing. It allows for joy, right? When we practice together, we laugh together. We laugh about our mistakes. We're happy that we can be together in a room and practice together, right? Remember, for those of you who, used to take my yoga classes back in the day when we were still allowed to be in a room together, right? We had fun together when we practiced together. Now we're doing it on Zoom, and we have fun when we practice together, and we learn. We connect to ourselves, to our bodies, to our hearts, to other people, right? And when we're happy and we're in this connection, then we can connect to nature, we can understand nature. There's so much beauty and so much love in practice, and there is so much stress and bad stuff in performance, right? Performance really does create stress. It creates anxiety, frustration, anger, depression. It creates violence. It creates greed, and of course, an environmental crisis, right? We ask that we perform too much, so we ask too much of ourselves. We ask too much of others. We ask too much of nature. So we extract resources in ourselves, in others, and in nature that we need to survive. And we just keep on pulling out, right? So what happens? People are in burnout. The planet is in burnout. Where there's no space for love, there's no space for diversity, there's no space for rest, there's no space for nourishment, for connection, for joy, for celebration. It's all about doing, performing, right? End of year results. What's the end year result? And we forget to live, we forget to enjoy and to be, to remember also that we are nature and we need nature, because like nature, we need rest, we need restoration, we need nourishment. We cannot just keep extracting and performing, and we can no longer ask nature to perform all the time, right? She's had enough, we're getting a little bit of a message of that already, and it's going to get worse. The depression's going to get worse, and the anxiety's going to get worse, and the violence is going to get worse, and the greed is going to get worse. We have to pause, right? Pause, slow down, remember that we're not machines, we're human beings. We need to go slow so that we have time to feel and to enjoy. We miss so much when we're in this performance mindset. Right. And the one thing that we really lose, and what we need, and I think in these times we're really noticing how much we need connection, but when we're in this performance mindset, because we're asking so much of ourselves, because we're asking so much of others, we go into complete disconnect, right? Of course we go into disconnect with nature, but we go into disconnect between one another because we just ask too much. So we're in a I'm not good enough, and then everybody else is not good enough. Just imagine how much our world would change on a global space, how our politics would change and our being together would change if we just said to ourselves, hey, I'm just practicing and everybody else is practicing too, right? So we're kind to each other, and we can help each other out, we can teach each other things, and we can learn to trust each other again. We're in such an epidemic of distrust as well. We don't trust anyone anymore, right? Everything is about fake news and fake politicians and fake this and fake that. So there are so many little epidemics in this pandemic or epidemic of performance mindset. So what I wanted to invite you to today is just to maybe think a little bit about that. Think about, what happens to your life when you're too much in performance mindset, and just open yourself up to a practice mindset, allow for pause, for rest, for nourishment, for enjoyment, for love, for being good enough, and everything being good enough. We don't need more, right? So that's just what I wanted to say to you today. A little free practice, a couple of exercises, and maybe really just truly an invitation to live again and to love again. And essentially that's also what I do with my work. What I try to do with my work is to offer a space where we can practice together, where we can practice moving and feeling and living and loving and resting, and where we can practice all those things that we forgot how to do. So, and there's the whole thing, there's learning about your nervous system, there's feeling, movement, somatics, ecosomatics, feeling our connection with nature, there's psychoeducation, neuroeducation. So there are like an infinite amount of things that we can practice together. So that's, just what I offer, because that's the knowledge that I have. But you can practice cooking and, nutrition and other things with other people, some of my colleagues, some people who are going to come in and do some videos and some lectures later. So there's loads of stuff. So I really just wanted to invite you to come and practice with us. So check the website out, do some of our online courses, or join our Zaza Zoom classes. So much Zoom these days. But it's also beautiful because it allows us to connect in these times. So yeah, so have fun, maybe practicing with us or me, or practicing life on your own with your family, with your loved ones, and maybe just sharing this idea of, hey, let's return to a practice mindset. Let's stop performing. It's exhausting, and it makes us miss the beauty of life and the love of nature, right? Without nature, there is no us. So we gotta stop that extracting resources out of nature and out of ourselves, and just return to nourishment. And a practice mindset really is about deeply nourishing yourself so that we can deeply nourish the planet and keep it healthy for our children and their children and their children and their children and their children. So that was it. That's just what I wanted to say today. So I hope you had some nourishing time listening to this. You got a nice pause in your performing day, and take it into the rest of your week, your month, your year, your life. Share it around. So hopefully I'll see you again soon. Bye.